Hey, coronavirus, what's up? The entire Southeast Asia uh is doomed. I have to wear masks when I go to the streets now, which I'm not complaining about. What I am complaining about is that I and everyone else it may get infected, and we're gonna die. So that's great. And I also had a haircut and shaved my mustache, and I look weird. I look like a 9-year-old right now. Fantastic. Uh, hey guys, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite TV shows, and today I'm going to continue my List Week 2010s and talk about the top 40 best TV shows of the decade. I don't know enough TV shows to make a top 50 list, but I know enough TV shows to make a top 40, so let's make it a top 40. Again, I look weird. I keep looking at myself right now. I look weird. It's like I'm a different person right now. Anyways, here are the honorable mentions. We have Dexter with the last 4 seasons. Yes, the last season is not that good. The series finale is terrible, but at least it's a good premise. 24 with the last season is also pretty nice. And I also have to mention The Walking Dead. We all know that after season 6, The Walking Dead is pretty much dead. But still, it's pretty culturally impactful. And I also have to mention Homeland and Orange is the New Black. One drama, one comedy, both with great premises. The End of the Fucking World is a really funny but also interesting teen drama. The Good Place is a really nice comedy. Rectify should also be mentioned. And This Is Us is a real humane and emotional TV show that should be mentioned. Anyways, here is the top 40. I look weird. At number 40, we have Downton Abbey, which is a TV show set in the UK, detailing how life is like as a noble, as a member of the royal family. And there's a lot of drama, and it's good. And then at number 39, pretty much in the same category here with the whole British royal thing, but this time it's real, and it is The Crown, which is a TV show based off of the life of Queen Elizabeth the second, I think, who's the queen, who's still the queen of the UK now, very amazingly. And this is a biographical drama that is historically accurate, and it still manages to be interesting. And at number 38, I'm giving it to Nathan For You, which is a Comedy Central a small little comedy thing that I find absolutely genius and funny. Nathan Felder, the main guy, he goes around and tries to help different companies to, I guess, boost their company. And he comes up with these ridiculous ideas, and he's always in this character which is awkward, and it's hilarious. It's a hilarious comedy show. And then at number 37, it is Succession, which is a really smart and intelligent but also witty drama slash comedy about a global media family that is dysfunctional. And at 36, we have one of the most successful comedy shows of all times, and that is Veep, starring Julia Louis Dreyfus as the main actress, playing a politician. And usually, as far as politics go, it gets pretty dramatic and pretty scary, but for Veep, it's actually funny, and I just like how it pokes fun at politics. And then at number 35, I'm giving it to the miniseries The Night Of, which shows this really strange and grim and suspenseful story, and there's something really memorable about this miniseries. And then at number 34, it is Boardwalk Empire, which is an American gangster epic with a lot of well-written scenes, a lot of amazing characters, some really nice plot lines. And at number 33, it is also one of the most successful and popular comedy shows, and that is Parks and Recreations. And yeah, it's similar to The Office, similar in spirit, similar in style, but still it manages to be extremely funny. Chris Pratt, Aubrey Plaza, Nick Offerman, they're all amazing. And then at number 32, another comedy show that I really, really appreciate, and that is Key and Peele. Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele. Together, they are a power duo in comedy, and they make a lot of these skits that are simple, but I don't know why, but I find them very funny and kind of relatable as well. I mean, there are just tons of iconic skits that came out of Key and Peele. And then at number 31, it's not a TV show for anyone, but I think this is a very good TV show, and that is Twin Peaks: The Return. In the year 2017, David Lynch and Mark Frost released Twin Peaks Season 3, aka The Return, from 26 years of absence of Twin Peaks. And it is this really dramatic, crazy, stylistic change to the original series, which is this drama/comedy whodunit murder mystery mixed with a supernatural twist, which is extremely weird because, hey, it's David Lynch. But then we have The Return, which is even darker, it's slower, it's more cumbersome, it's extremely abstract, and at first I have no idea what the hell's going on with this TV show. But the more I watch it, the more I realize that it's an artsy experience TV show, and the ending is just really rewarding. Anyways, at number 30, we have The Handmaid's Tale, which is a very liberal TV show adapted by a novel of the same name by Margaret Atwood about a dystopian future America where women are oppressed and everyone has to be Christian. And yes, it's pretty grim, pretty depressing. And I like that in the first few seasons, the show doesn't really force the ideologies down our throats, but it lets us see what the USA is going to look like if, women are oppressed, which is, again, extremely depressing and tragic. But of course, we have amazing performances here. Ann Dowd, Elizabeth Moss, they're both great. And some really emotional storylines and plot lines that really make you go, come on, man, come on, you have to escape, this country. Anyways, at number I can't touch my eyes because the virus can go in from the eyes. At 29, Killing Eve, which is a really smart and refreshing comedy about a psychopath falling in love with a police officer. And that's all you need to know. But yeah, this TV show is a lot of fun. The main character, Villanelle, the psychopath, is extremely entertaining on screen. Great performances from Jodie Comer. Need I say more? At 28, True Detective. Yes, the first season of True Detective deserves to be in the top 10 alone. But the second season kind of flopped. But the third season is really solid as well. But True Detective is basically a TV show where each season has a different story with different characters in different locations. And the first season is just this very dark, depressing, grim take on sexual trafficking and just corrupt governments in general, and it's just haunting. It's thrilling. And then with seasons 2 and 3, not really that good, but it still has some amazing scenes, well-written dialogues. The title sequences, they're all fantastic. And then at number 27, I have to give it to the extremely popular Stranger Things. It's really popular. It's all the rage these days. It's a very 80s retro throwback monster thriller thing. And I have to admit, even though it's a very lowbrow TV show, it's very accessible, nothing all that deep. It's still very friggin' entertaining. Seasons 1 and 2 are amazing. Season 3 fell flat a little bit, but still has its entertaining moments, and the characters are well written. It doesn't feel awkward, it isn't cringy, and I just enjoyed it a lot. And then at number 26, we have BoJack Horseman, which is one of the most culturally impactful animation shows of the decade as well, because this TV show deals with depression. The main character, who is a horse, suffers with depression, and there are a lot of TV shows lately that deal with the same kind of thing, like Euphoria and 13 Reasons Why, and Euphoria is overrated and 13 Reasons Why is terrible. But BoJack Horseman actually portrays it well, with really interesting and well-written three-dimensional characters, storylines that really warm us, that really gives us smile, but also sometimes tear us up, because it can be really relatable sometimes. Anyways, at number 25, we have another miniseries that is American Crime Story, The People vs. OJ. I saw this TV show on my TV like a million years ago, and still to this day, I remember the storylines on this episode very clearly, because this TV show is actually based on real life, the trials of O.J. Simpson that took place in the 90s in the USA, which is this really big thing, and now it's made into a TV show, and it's high quality. The production, the acting is the best part about the TV show. I mean, Sarah Paulson, Sterling K. Brown, Cuba Gooding Jr., everyone else, they're all friggin' fantastic. And I mean, adapting from reality can result in some boring stuff, but the writers of this show manages to make everything gripping and compelling and interesting. And then at number 24, I have to give it to The Office, season 6 to 9, which aired in this decade. Yes, The Office could potentially be one of my favorite comedy shows of all times, if not my personal favorite, because each character is so funny. John Krasinski, Steve Carell, Dwight, who is, I forgot the actor's name, how could I forget? Rainn Wilson, yes, and a lot of other characters are great, but moreover, it's just a really dumb, silly comedy that isn't necessarily cringy, but it's really dumb, and that is probably the biggest reason why it's so friggin' funny. And the last few seasons of the show isn't as strong as the first few seasons, yes, but still a lot of great episodes, a lot of great scenes, great moments. And at 23, another comedy series, and it is Fleabag, with Phoebe Waller-Bridge as the main actress. Amazing performances, the fourth wall breaks are fantastic, and even though it's a pretty short and simple series, there are a lot of funny ass scenes in this series that makes us see the light-hearted side of life. And at number 22, completely on the flip side, we see the heavy side of life, actually death, with the series Hannibal, easily one of the darkest TV shows of the decade, about Hannibal the cannibal. But seriously, Mads Mikkelsen is truly terrifying in this TV show. At number 21, it is the British gangster epic Peaky Blinders, really the British counterpart of Boardwalk Empire, in my opinion. But this TV show is better than Boardwalk Empire because it has more class, the characters have more depth, and the storylines have more of a punch to them. Cillian Murphy, totally killing it. And overall, it's just a very dramatic show that has a lot of ups and downs. And here is the top 20. Starting off at number 20, we have House of Cards. Separating the art from the artist. We all know that Kevin Spacey is not the guy we think he is, unfortunately, but House of Cards is legitimately the best political thriller TV show of all times, in my opinion, because everything's just so gripping and intense, and once again, I'll use that word, but dark. This is a very dark political thriller TV show where we see politicians do whatever it takes to be more powerful, to be more wealthy, and there's just a lot of dark, evil things going on, and every storyline is just so intense and gripping, and a lot of victims, and we feel for those victims. Frank Underwood has blood coming out of his fists and his teeth, just showing how ruthless and relentless he can be. Yeah, the last season flopped. The last season is terrible, but there's that. At number 19, another miniseries, and that is Chernobyl. What's special about this TV show is that this TV show is also based off of what happened in real life during the 80s in Ukraine, the very famous, notorious, and destructive nuclear plant explosion. In the Chernobyl nuclear plant, of course, and this miniseries, with only 5 episodes, show how destructive this event is. And mainly, we see Jared Harris and Stellan Skarsgård, and we see them just doing each measure possible to stop this nuclear power plant to explode even more, or spread the radiation even more, and try their best to clear as much radiation as possible. But we also see a few side characters to see the effects and the impacts of this event in other people's perspectives, and it's just amazing. It's depressing, yes, but it's also powerful, because ultimately this show is about lies, the government telling lies, hiding from the people. At 18, we have Daredevil, which is one of the few Marvel TV shows that I actually find amazing, because Iron Fist isn't so great. Jessica Jones has its great moments. The other show, Luke Cage, I think, not really that good. The Defendants is pretty good, but what really makes The Defendants good is because of Daredevil. Daredevil is the main Marvel TV show that actually succeeded. Not only is Daredevil a really unique I won't say superhero, but character, definitely. But also the way the TV show is shot is high quality, some really intense and entertaining storylines here, but also most importantly, Daredevil, the main character himself, has a lot of depth, and he's not this super powerful superhero either. There are a lot of impressive hallway scenes where we see him just getting beaten up, and the cinematography is fantastic. Absolutely love it. And at number 17, it is the Breaking Bad prequel, Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul! Bob Odenkirk is fantastic here, but everyone else are fantastic as well. The guy who plays Jimmy's brother, Chuck, he's amazing. Rhea Seehorn, we have Jonathan Banks is returning, Gus Fring is back, Giancarlo Esposito, he's back. And this prequel to Breaking Bad, while it's not as bloody, violent, or as entertaining as Breaking Bad, it's still really smart, very cleverly written, it's intelligent, these storylines are really well written. Vince Gilligan never disappoints. Anyways, at number 16, it is Fargo. In the spirit of the movie of the same name by the Coen brothers. And in Fargo, every season has different sets of characters and different locations, like True Detective. And I guess the reason why I place this higher than True Detective is because every single season is just as solid. First season is fantastic. Martin Freeman totally killing it. And apparently, very soon a new season is going to come out and Chris Rock's going to be in it, which is really exciting. But I think overall it's just a really well done, really cleverly written, wittily written drama / comedy with a lot of really amazing scenes. Anyways, number 15, I won't say this is a regular TV show, but it is just a TV show that I just love so much so that I just have to put it on this list, and that is the Eric Andre Show. The Eric Andre Show, the talk show. Yes, I don't want to put any talk shows or reality TV shows or documentary TV shows on this list, but the Eric Andre Show is something else. It really is something else. If you don't know what it is, you need to check it out all by yourself. I'm not going to say anything about this TV show other than that it is batshit insane. It is friggin' insane. It is a talk show that is extremely funny. Actually, this talk show is funnier than The Office, in my opinion. But it's not a comedy. It's not fictional or anything. It's like real life. Just go check it out. And at number 14, we have the last season to Lost, which is absolutely controversial and polarizing. But in my opinion, it's just a really epic and poetic and beautiful ending to the whole series. Of course, the ending isn't as satisfying as people would want it to be, but there's just something so mind-bending and complicated, yet just out of the world, out of existence, about the storylines that is just so powerful about the last season of Lost. And at number 13, it's a very new series, and that is Barry, starring Bill Hader, who is friggin' fantastic. And the premise is absolutely unique because this TV show is about a hitman who wants to be an actor, who is terrible at acting. And so we have the elements of trying to survive and make a living in Los Angeles, but also being a hitman, being confronted and surrounded by gangsters and mafias, and it's a really refreshing TV show. Season 1 is okay, but Season 2 is really when the TV show shines. A lot of amazing moments, amazing ending to Season 2. Season 1 ending is great as well, but Season 2, ugh. Anyways, at number 12, gotta give it to Justified, which is a TV show that deals with themes of moral ambiguity really well, has some really gripping and really tragic scenes and storylines, has its grim and dark moments, and I just really appreciate it. And at number 11, we have Westworld. Just season 1 alone puts this TV show in the top 10, but season 2 is a little slower, so I'm going to put it at number 11. But still, it's a really, really great TV show. The premise is truly ahead of its time, and the TV show is created by Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy, and Jonathan Nolan is the brother of Christopher Nolan. And that explains why this TV show is so mind-bending, so complicated, multiple timelines stacked on top of one another, locations within locations, storylines within storylines. It is truly a complicated TV show. The writing is fantastic, and there are many parts about this TV show that is inspired by poems, video games, history, and of course other movies. Fantastic score by Ramin Djawadi, and overall just a really beautifully shot TV show. There's something so poetic and poignant and powerful about the TV show that I just absolutely love, not only in the very epic cinematography, but also just in the storylines itself, because it deals with humanity, existence, consciousness, and it deals with those themes so deeply and so abstractly. It is fantastic. It is truly awesome. Yes. At number 10, Narcos, which is a TV show about Pablo Escobar and the whole drug gangster mafia deal in Mexico, and it is one of the most gripping and realistic and grounded, but also entertaining and compelling TV shows about crime in general. But what really makes this TV show special is that it isn't just the very sleazy, crappy, epic, dramatic gangster TV show, but there are actually consequences and depth and just impacts in each of the storylines and characters' decisions in this TV show. And of course, at number 9, we have The Leftovers, which is arguably one of the most well-written TV shows of the decade. And this TV show has a really interesting premise about just a lot of people disappeared, and the rest, the leftovers, they had to survive. And there's a lot of drama within the characters, and a lot of really well written, really intelligently written storylines. But I think overall it's just the really interesting storylines and the really well written storylines in this TV show, the twists and turns that pull all these episodes together to form one great TV show. Of course, the season finale is fantastic, but so is every other seasons. And at number 7, I am going to give it to Atlanta, which is a comedy TV show and apparently the highest rated comedy TV show, highest ranked comedy TV show in my list right here. And it is one of the most unique and creative TV shows about comedy of the decade and perhaps of all times. Donald Glover is the main brain behind the thing, and Donald Glover is so friggin' talented. I'm honestly shocked, to be honest. But still, the characters here, they're funny. The storylines here, they're ingenious because it may look pretty regular at first, but really the turns and how the storylines progresses in this TV show, they are smart, they're really hilarious, and they're golden. BAN is a classic. Teddy Perkins is even more of a classic, and just really well written and really interesting. And at number 7, the best animated TV show of the decade, also the most culturally impactful, and that is Rick and Morty, where Rick and his grandson Morty sort of explores the universe, gets in trouble, and stuff's happen. And while it is an animated TV show, yes, it's not really meant for kids. There are actually some legit adult themes in this TV show, which makes it even better, more well written, extremely well voice acted, and the storylines, they're just so creative, just so innovative, and really entertaining as well. And at number 6, one of the best things that came out of BBC, and that is Sherlock. BBC. There are tons of Sherlock adaptations and film and movies and TV shows and plays, but it's this one that takes the crown jewel as, in my opinion, the best Sherlock adaptation in media in general. I mean, even better than Robert Downey Jr.'s Sherlock. This Sherlock is a more modern take on Sherlock Holmes. The editing in this movie is like the best of the decade. I have never seen editing so amazing in a TV show before. I swear, the effects, the way people texts and the text pop up on the frame, the way we see Sherlock Holmes think, the sequences, they're all fantastic. Martin Freeman and friggin' Benedict Cumberbatch totally killing it in their roles, but of course season 2 is just amazing. Moriarty, Andrew Scott's Moriarty is the best version of Moriarty I can ever find. This very unstable, unpredictable villain that is extremely well portrayed, but yeah, even though season 4 is not that great, but each season is fantastic. We essentially get only 3 episodes each season, but each episode is about 1.5 hours long, and they're like mini movies. They are high quality. They're really well written. It has a really obvious act structure, but each episode is just as gripping and as entertaining, and the ending is always super smart, and it just makes Sherlock Holmes interesting. We have another TV show called Elementary with the guy, I forgot the name, the guy from Trainspotting, and Lucy Liu, and it's not as good because it just doesn't have the drama and the ridiculousness that BBC's Sherlock has. So yeah, there's that. Anyways, here's my top 5. 5 of the best TV shows of the decade, in my opinion. At number 5, we have Mad Men. Well, not season 1 to 3 because they're released before the 2010s, but seasons 4 to 7, where the magic of Mad Men really starts to show. Of course, season 4 is fantastic. John Hamm, Elizabeth Moss, everybody else in the show is just fantastic. Mad Men is a really special TV show. Not only is it extremely successful, culturally impactful, and well written, but also it is a very realistic portrayal of what America in the 60s and New York specifically in the 60s feel like. Each character is so three-dimensional and is so well written, and written in a way it's so realistic, it's amazing. And it's a very new thing for TV shows. Like, oh my gosh, realistic TV shows, realistic characters and realistic storylines. Like, crazy, right? Crazy. But the amount of research that goes into writing this TV show is amazing as well. I mean, we have the makeup, the costumes, the props, the cars and the buildings, the slangs people use, the musical choice, everything, like down to everything, is super duper 60s, and it's just really well written. The performances are great. But most importantly, the storylines. They just have so much emotion behind them, but yet it is sophisticated. It is hard to grasp, and I just really appreciate that. It's highbrow. It's a highbrow TV show. And at number 4, The Americans, which has a really refreshing premise about two Russian spies sort of disguising themselves as Americans, which generates a lot of really interesting and really intense and suspenseful storylines, because it's political, but also at the same time it's about living a normal life itself, and the difficulty of that. And it's just really well portrayed. But the main reason why this TV show is just so great is the amazing storylines, how each storyline builds its tension on one another, and each season is fantastic, but it's the last one which really blew everybody's minds. It's easily the best TV show in 2018, and also one of the best of the decade. Anyways, here's my top 3 favorite TV shows of the decade. At number 3, we have Game of Thrones. Really, undeniably the most popular TV show of all times in the entire world, period. And Game of Thrones is a TV show by Double D, which is David Benioff and D.B. Wise, adapted from the very, very fantastic novels written by George R.R. Martin. And Game of Thrones is a super duper complicated TV show about a fictional world that's sort of set in the medieval times, Westeros and Essos, and a little bit of Sothorios in the story as well, but mainly Westeros and Essos. And we get all sorts of different characters who have different motives and different relationships with different people. And in each season, actually in every few episodes, they all change different locations, they all change storylines, but each storyline is just so interesting, and the character dynamics, the way the storylines progress, the romance, everything is super complicated, weaving into one another into a really complicated spider web with a lot of layers, but each of the storylines are just so interesting. There are political things in the show, political thriller actually, that makes the show really, really interesting. But then we have the supernatural with the dragons and the magic and the whole Children of the Forest thing, and the Three-Eyed Raven thing and the White Walkers thing, and they are fantastic as well. Very interesting, entertaining, and gripping. But not only that, the whole thing is set in this medieval times age, and just the props, the costumes, down to the music. Amazing music by Ramin Djawadi. Everything is fantastic. Other than the last 2 seasons. The last 2 seasons are huge disappointments, and if it weren't for the last 2 seasons, this TV show would have been at number 1. But it's not. The last season. What the hell? Anyways, at my number 2 spot, we have a very controversial pick, because it's not a TV show for everyone. Similar to Twin Peaks: The Return, not many people enjoy this TV show, but me personally absolutely love this TV show, and that is Mr. Robot, Sam Esmail. Mr. Robot is a TV show about a vigilante hacker who was in a hacker group called F Society, trying to erase everyone's debts because there's this evil, huge corporation who's controlling everybody's lives called E-Corp. And then we have the Dark Army, which is even worse than E-Corp and even more of a threat, even greater of a threat. And we have White Rose, the leader of the Dark Army, which is this really evil, twisted, psychopathic character who also has a lot of depth. and this dark army is a bunch of hackers from China. And oh my gosh, this has to be the most artistic and stylish TV show I've ever seen, ever. The cinematography, the framing, down to the lighting, the font, the texts in this TV show, the style of the editing, all of them are just so artistic, and they give off this really, I guess, introverted and strange and almost sometimes even eerie and ominous vibe. It's amazing. The dialogues, they're super well written. What else can I say? The performances by Rami Malek, B.D. Wong, Carly Chaikin, Christian Slater, Martin Wallstrom. Amazing. All of them are amazing. But I think what makes this TV show the second best TV show of the decade is that it never runs out of creative ideas. In each season, there's something different about each season. The style of the storyline, the way storylines progress, the main threat to the characters. Each season is slightly different, even in cinematography and style and music. But still, all of them come together to form a really mind-bending, complicated TV show about loneliness, but also about society. And we have themes exploring depression and schizophrenia and actually identity disorders, and it's explored so well. I am honestly amazed. But also, I guess it's ideas like a fake sitcom, one-shot episode, an entire episode where there are little to no lines, or bottle episodes where the entire episode only takes place in 2 rooms, yet it's super duper emotional and traumatizing. It's creative ideas like this that makes the TV show so great. Also, the twists and turns. In each season, there are 2 twists. Exactly 2. Maybe 3, I guess, but 2. And each twist is just so insane, but yet it's not super off the walls. After the last twist, you sort of go back to the beginning and you're like, it makes sense now. Oh my gosh. And yeah, I just can't say enough great things about this TV show. It's criminally underrated, and I highly suggest anyone in the world to check it out. It is truly fantastic from the beginning to end. And of course, I think you all know what's going to be my favorite TV show of the decade. I have praised this TV show very highly ever since the channel had started, and it is Breaking Bad, which I think is the best TV show of all times, not only in the decade, but all times, period. And Breaking Bad is a TV show about a chemistry teacher who has lung cancer, who decided to not die slowly and boringly, but die quickly and excitingly. He chose to be a meth dealer, more like a meth producer, but very soon he sort of joined different gangs and was in different organizations, crime organizations, and the plot sort of thickens. And throughout the entire show, from the first episode till the last, the main character of Walter White, brilliantly portrayed by Bryan Cranston, best television performance of all times, Walter White slowly but gradually transitions from a really innocent and weak person to a really powerful, evil, greedy, egotistic person who a lot of people actually respect. And this character arc is the most powerful and amazing character arc I've ever seen in a TV show. Because in a sense, you can say that yes, his character had turned evil, turned bad, and it's a very sad, terrible ending for him, but also at the same time, it's powerful because of how morally ambiguous this TV show can be, and how much you can cross the line of morality can actually bring you so much power and so much respect and almost inspiring at some point. But then we get the side characters, which are all friggin' amazing. Gus Fring, a really calculated professional gangster who a gangster head who doesn't make a single mistake other than his last one. We have this really cool, badass, chill guy played by Jonathan Banks, Mike. We have the sleazy, extremely funny comedic relief that is Saul Goodman. And Jesse Pinkman may seem like a slop at first, a failure at first, but he has a great heart, and he's a very caring person who is fantastic. And there are a lot of storylines in this TV show, but each storyline is more intense and more suspenseful and more dramatic and extreme than the previous one. And the tension of this TV show, the stakes of this TV show just keeps on rising and rising and rising and rising until the very end, which is just fucking insane. It's absolutely suspenseful. The last season, every single episode is brilliant. Every single episode just has amazing scenes, amazing characters, tragic ending, triumphant ending actually, but also tragic. And overall, there's just something very poetic and powerful about this TV show, but also the way Vince Gilligan mixes comedy and drama is just brilliant. It's not cringy, it doesn't feel awkward, but it's just very cleverly written. The dialogues, the cinematography, the editing, the musical choices, they're all top notch. And the score of the TV show itself, the electronic beats, the dubstep, they're actually really intense and really well composed and well fit into the TV show. And again, I can't say enough great things about this TV show. It is the best TV show of all times. And I know a lot of people don't consider this a 2010s TV show because seasons 1 and 2 are not released in the 2010s, but seasons 3, 4, 5A, and 5B are released in 2010, 11, 12, and 13 respectively, and the cultural impact of this TV show lasts for the rest of the decade. So, I mean, it's a 2010s TV show. What can I say? So, what's your favorite TV show of the decade? Comments below, let me know, and thanks for watching.